and also of how vulnerable I was. You have to perform at a pretty high level, but those psychological things keep eating at you. And I saw some pretty serious psychological problems developing, people kind of going off the cliff.
Unloading. Software, of course.
The journey to Mars is an exercise in boredom. Days slip away in a numbing ritual of science experiments, aerobic exercise, dehydrated meals, and sleep. Email communications with loved ones back home come with a time delay of up to 23 minutes, given the spaceship's distance from Earth. There's very little to do and nowhere to escape. Russia has conducted intense experiments to push its cosmonauts to the outer limits. Deprived of sleep for 3 days, this cosmonaut is put through the paces of mundane tasks around the clock to see if he'll snap. But nothing on Earth can prepare a crew for the psychological hardships on a mission to Mars.
If we can solve the problem of finding an ideal crew, then the Mars mission will be a success. If we make a mistake, these conflicts will kill the crew, just like a disease.
The psychological anguish is only one problem. The physical effects are much more serious. Bones and muscles weaken radically in zero Gs, and NASA still doesn't have solutions. Jerry Linenger spent 132 consecutive days in space aboard Mir. That's less than 1/3 of the travel time to Mars and back.
I was almost shocked that I had lost 65% of my strength level and lost about 13–14% of my bone mass in those weight-bearing areas.
One solution is to create gravity within the spacecraft. NASA engineer Stan Borowski has a plan still in its infancy. The spaceship will rotate through space like a propeller.
After the primary departure burn from Earth occurs, we jettison the propellant tank, and now we position the vehicle and can use small RCS thrusters located on the front and back of the vehicle to spin it like the propeller on an airplane. By doing that, we're able to generate artificial gravity for the crew.
The effect of zero Gs inside the spacecraft are minor compared with the threats outside. Space swarms with massive solar storms and streams of cosmic radiation. The radiation on a voyage to Mars is the equivalent of 3,000 chest X-rays, unless there's protection. Engineer and veteran astronaut Jeffrey Hoffman has an idea straight from science fiction. A force field protecting the Mars craft from cosmic radiation.
The radiation is there. The human body doesn't like radiation. If we're going to ever really become a spacefaring civilization, radiation protection has got to be a part of the equation.
What kind of crew has the courage and the stamina to handle these deep space challenges? In the earliest days, NASA recruited fighter pilots. A danger junkie is the last person wanted on a 2.5-year mission to Mars.
But you also want them to be highly skilled and highly reliable in the skills that they bring to the mission. And those skills, there'll be a set of generic skills, the ability to work with technology, repair technology, understand how to make computers and networks work, and habitability systems, and repair spacesuits and space rovers. All those will be critical.
NASA has already decided on a mixed crew of men and women for its Mars mission. Sex in space is a real possibility on the long, lonely haul to Mars. But NASA's official policy is sex is okay as long as personal relationships don't jeopardize the mission.
It happens everywhere on Earth. It'll happen on the way to Mars, and just stop worrying about it. Just let people who have the right skill set right across the board go, and the other problems will take care of themselves.
The final obstacle facing the Mars astronauts is time. A lot can change on Earth over 2 years. Things that can be too much to bear, helpless in the loneliness of space.
My son was little over 1.5 years old. My wife was pregnant. An issue that comes up is, you know, what if something bad happens to your family on Earth? Should they send you that message and tell you that you lost your son? You know? It'd be a tough time. I get choked up just thinking about it, you know.
The challenges facing astronauts on their journey from Earth to Mars are devastating and deadly. But nothing can prepare them for the dangers that await as they ready to land on the red planet and face its merciless climate. Mars is a planet of hostile extremes, unspeakably desolate, unbearably cold, swept by massive dust storms, ridden with craters and canyons. It is Earth's arch enemy, a planet of death. December 1976, NASA's ring of global space antennae are fixed on Mars. In the dead of night, pictures from the red planet taken by the Viking lander. Dr. James Garvin was an intern on the Mars Viking program. Now, he's NASA's chief scientist.
Viking went with experiments designed to ask about modern extant life, microbial life. It looked, at the end of Viking, Mars looked like a polar, sterile desert.
Despite its merciless environment, Mars and Earth share some similarities. The sun rises in the east, and a Mars day is just 40 minutes longer than that on Earth. But the planet has just over 1/3 of the gravity and an extremely thin atmosphere. The atmosphere on Mars is mostly carbon dioxide and is deadly. Near the equator is Valles Marineris, the largest canyon in our solar system. With walls 10 kilometers high, it's large enough to hold 100 Grand Canyons. To the north is an ancient volcano called Olympus Mons. Towering 35,000 meters, the summit is about 3 times higher than Mount Everest. The average temperature on Mars is about minus 60 degrees Celsius, and at night can plummet to minus 100 degrees. Relentless winds blow up dust clouds that create huge electrical fields, and the clouds themselves can engulf the entire planet for months on end. Monster-sized dust devils spiral 80 kilometers into the atmosphere. A manned space vehicle could never land in one of Mars' vicious dust storms. So on Earth, a couple of unconventional storm chasers helped NASA learn about what it might be like on the red planet.
Steve, do you see the big red barn to the west? Yes, I do. That's the monster I wanted to catch.
Oh, yeah.
In Arizona, scientists Stephen Metzger and Brent Boss are racing headlong into terrestrial dust devils.
Oh, yeah. This is worth the trip, right?
On Earth, a good 20-meter wide dust devil that lasts for 20 minutes can fling several metric tons of dirt into the air. Mars is the same dry land as Earth, but Mars is one big desert, springing up dust devils all over the place all the time.
Mars is renowned for dust storms, so you could have huge sandblasting activity flying around you. Whichever way you want to cut it, landing is going to be